en masse. You can't do it physically, as I said earlier. You have to do it by programming their perception of reality. You've got to make them think that they're little me, I have no power. You've got to let them to look up to the system and their betters and the lords and the ladies and the financiers and the politicians. You have to program their sense of an event in the world.
Yes, people, it's Justice here. This one entitled The Digital Freedom Platform, Icke's Blueprint. As we see so often throughout history, often in cycles shorter than others, sometimes longer. Nevertheless, oftentimes these certain scenarios that we find ourselves viewing from a distance or entangled in repeat themselves, and it appears in this situation with the London Real TV, the Digital Freedom Platform situation. Mr. Icke has laid out the blueprint for Mr. Rose Icrucian's heist. And Mr. Icke was the director, the CEO, the head honcho, the forefront, the front man of this here TV, internet-based freedom station called The People's Voice. Yes, of course, so inclusive yet exclusive as always. Interestingly enough, it seems like, in accordance with what I said yesterday with regards to Icke being just as much implicated in these fraudulent behaviours and these fraudulent practices, that this exact same scenario has already happened before. Now, all of the same complaints surrounding this previous digital freedom platform seems to be exactly the same. The non-transparency surrounding the financial happenings of the business, the begging of funds and donations, the spamming of emails and the overpriced seminars and life-changing courses and transform yourself ayahuasca experiences, as well as the blatant hypocrisy in them boasting about getting an Ofcom license, being regulated by exactly the same moderators that regulate all the other mainstream platforms, or all the mainstream platforms. Not that they're trying to be one supposedly, but as we will see, that might not quite be the case. But yeah, this is exactly the same situation that we've seen over the last 8 weeks panning out with this emergence of this new digital freedom platform. The blueprint was laid out by Icke. It ended much the same way as I'd imagine this same thing that we're seeing now is going to with this new digital freedom platform. But without further ado, let's get into it quick time.
I said that if we raise the money, we would be able to create a quality studio newsroom operation to put out uncensored news and information across the great swathe of subjects that are censored in the mainstream.
There's no rules. Rules. Who needs rules?
You must comply. Compliance, that's what it is. Comply. No. Do what we say. No. Your house is foreclosed. Leave. No.
It's time to lift the arse off the sofa and bring an end to this nonsense, because otherwise we're just building our own prison cell or sitting around while someone does it. Is that sensible? I think not.
I think where the station will go is, anyone's guess really. The sky's the limit, isn't it? I think obviously it's starting off as an internet-based thing, but I think it's only a matter of time before it's on mainstream television. It's on mainstream television because I think it will grow so big that
naive people, despite all the evidence before them.
I think where the station will go is anyone's guess really. The sky's the limit, isn't it? I think obviously it's starting off as an internet-based thing, but I think it's only a matter of time before it's on mainstream television.
Pathetic, naive people, despite all the evidence before them.
They've had that acceptance, and it has been questioned, and the real story had come out, which it does in the alternative media. There would have been no invasion of Afghanistan. There would have been no maimed and murdered people in Afghanistan. There would be no dead soldiers. There would be no war on terror. There would be no justification to impose an incredibly deep and fine detailed surveillance operation on the global public. There would have been no justification really, because it was done on the back of the war on terror, to invade Iraq. And you look at all these other things that have happened around the world, justified by we must stop terrorism.
So anyways, I thought it'd be interesting to bring our attention to this article here in the Daily Fail with David's ex-wife, Pamela, busting a little expose. But it's not really the expose part. David, the son of God. Don't know. It's not really the expose part that I'm interested in here. It's the relationship aspects surrounding this all-encompassing higher love. So they don't actually have a child together, I don't think, Mr. Icke and Pamela Icke, as she was, the daughter of an American fighter pilot, totally encapsulated by Icke's aura. You could just hear a pin drop when he spoke. There's them two, chilling, destined to be together. This encounter was apparently even more auspicious. Before his trip, Icke had visited a psychic. So that's, he keeps visiting these psychics and shit. That it just tells you more about his spiritual awakenness. How much he clings on to the words of these random psychics. He told him he was going to meet a lady from America who would ask him out to dinner. There you go. And there he is with the lady that asked him out to dinner. Mental. Pamela said she was that person. Incredible. There they are. So it says here, Icke predicted that the world would end in 1997. Dickhead. It was not imminent Armageddon, but his own unusual domestic arrangements that provided the backdrop to his new romance. For Icke was still living and married with his first wife, Linda Atherton, she's called. Again, back to the Crowleyan doctrine. If you want to do some digging, Linda Atherton is a Crowleyan preacher. So they know what they do. They know what they do. To make things trickier, another woman, Deborah Shaw, had moved into the mutual home in 1990. It was reported that David, Linda and Deborah had a menage a trois for a while, but Linda kicked out Deborah when she became pregnant with a daughter, Rebecca, by Icke. Yet none of this seemingly troubled his new American girlfriend. Fucking hell. For 2 years, Pamela commuted from her home in Phoenix, Arizona to the Isle of Wight. September the 20th, 2001, 9 days after 9/11. You hear how much this guy goes on about 9/11? 9 days after, he was so awake that 9 days after, man, just chilling and getting married. Such a world-changing event. It's not like taking notes and working on nothing. It's just getting married and having a party and that. But whatever. So yeah, Icke's 3 children from his marriage to Linda. Now, the article here goes on to explain how Linda was getting upset when the business arrangements were shifting from her being in charge to Pamela. Her and Icke fell out, blah, blah, blah. And him and Linda are still tight, and she was, still handling his business arrangements and was supporting him throughout him and Pamela's divorce. So Linda was his first wife, was still there. See, Linda and his children have been supportive of him. Pamela, meanwhile, says she just wants to get on with her life. They was dragging it out over money. So yeah, she says Pamela is demanding immense amounts of money from her husband. But yeah, madness. So Pamela decided to make some sort of metaphorical messaged videos to air some of her thoughts using some film clips, and I thought it'd be interesting to just show these because they're quite funny.
Point me. You've gone soft.
If by that you mean I'm not bloodthirsty enough for this revolution of yours, you're right.
Point me. You've gone soft.
If by that you mean I'm not bloodthirsty enough for this revolution of yours, you're right.
Your revolution as well.
Yes. But it's taken us in different directions. Perhaps my vision was never the same as yours. I see now what begins as a dream can end as a nightmare. Some causes can become warped and twisted like some men.
I mean, obviously, his wife, might hold some bitterness, and we can only determine stuff from a limited perception of this situation. But oh my, as a character reference, that is hilarious. some causes may become twisted like some men. Jeez. So this next couple snippets is from a lady called Sonia Poulton, who was one of the founding members of the People's Voice, along with David Icke and the rest of these fools. And she's one of the people that was outing him and the whole business regarding the financial aspects.
I'd like to know who those staff were that were being paid that. This is what I do know, is every single member of the Icke family worked on TPV. I would like to really see a breakdown of those wages, even including David's ex-wife worked on TPV.
All of the Icke family, Linda, Gareth, his daughter, all of them were involved with this, the People's Voice. And Gareth has posted to his own website here with his little jokey tab bar comment thing. I'm so vain, I probably think this side is a... You're so funny, Gareth. Oh, hi all. As many of you that watched, donated, slagged off the People's Voice may know, see, it got a stick because it was shit, mate. Same problems as the London Real thing right now. They state that he is no longer required, and thus I figure that the band is no longer required either. You see their attitude. Oh, they said my dad isn't required. But even here it says my dad severed ties with the organisation. Like, he severed ties. They state he's no longer required. But that's like, dude, you got fired. No, I left. No, he got fired. No, he left. No, like, he was the CEO, so he clearly left amongst all of that shit. You know what I mean? He was the head honcho, the director. And like I say, you see all these same names, Brian Jerish, freaking Richie Allen, all these dodgy dudes again. And yeah, shit hit the fan, monetary wise. He dipped out, slagged everyone else off. They took the flak. And yeah, they state that he is no longer required, and thus I figured that the band is no longer required either. I was hoping that once the station got back into a better financial state, we'd be able to bring the music show back. But for a while I've accepted that this is very unlikely, and this, to me, confirms that. It was a pleasure to be involved with the bands, and I hope that we made a little difference to the bands we featured. We had a lot of excellent artists, and I would like to say thanks to all of them. They had all sorts of weird shit on this TV freedom platform thing with David Icke's son. I don't know what's going on with this family's character, but they had some odd shit like this.
Fish? No, you need the ducks, man, Coronation Street style. Can we get onto that? Got all it done. Make a note, right. On to our second comedian, the very talented Emma Packer.
Amy Jones, that's my name, you get me. My ends is Windsor. Berkshire born and bred, the sickest place you will ever tread. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I haven't seen a queen. But I hear she's a rude girl still with a bling, and some say she's a fiend. Documentaries report she killed the Princess Di, but got off by telling bare lie. I don't know what's the truth, but as usual, government is good at concealing the proof. That said, Crown and Country is really not what I stand for. I like Robin Hood. He took from the rich to feed the poor.
And then some next odd shit like this.
Would you find a cock badger in the life of Pi? That's the question. Let's find out.
Oh, do you have to do that?
Do what?
Breathe like that.
Yeah, it's how I live, Richard Parker.
It's not what I meant, is it? Just shut your mouth when you do it.
And then some next odd shit like this.
I think there's been a misbooking because I'm not a comedian, I'm a poet. That's right. And normally I write my poetry in menstrual blood on the back of a small child. But it's a school night, so he's not here tonight. So instead I'll be reading my poetry from this iPad. I'm aware that makes me look like a I've always been a poet ever since I was a small child. I was reading back my poetry just the other day and it was truly humbling to realise just how talented I've always been.
Also, massive thanks to everyone involved in the show. Blah, blah, blah. TPV obviously had its drawbacks personally, mainly the lies and nonsense that surrounded it, and the rubbish allegations it's made against myself and others. Damn. Given the show isn't returning, I feel I should set a few things straight. And here we go, the whole ego. It's my idea. Apart from Amy James, it's my idea. Some small labels, my idea. She'd never performed on a band, it was my idea. Own music, my idea. Used it to promote myself. Hell, the name of the band, my idea. I pitched the show like all others, so there was no nepotism involved. I wasn't handed a presenting job just because. No, but you all just happened to work there just because. Alright, whatever. Other nonsense that went around was that my dad was keeping his family in work and paid by TPV. Yeah. I never received a penny from TPV, you lying bastard. I lost several gigs myself. Oh, I lost this. So it was all my idea and I lost everything. And I gave a band the opportunity to play in front of 90,000 people, is basically what that says, with a nice little kiss at the end, just so you know that he's all on love, like his dad. Mad thing. So yeah, this whole thing has been done before. The whole digital freedom, let's make our own thing, and promoting the fact that they've got an Ofcom license. So again, you know, the stupidness or the cleverness, I have no idea, but either way, they're taking money from you lot, and they've done it before, and they're doing it again. And there's people even now slagging off Brian Rose and being like, yeah, David Icke's still the hero. Wake up, people. Wake up. These are all making money off of these situations, off of fear, off of people just striving to get clarity in the most twisted, distorted times possible.
And welcome back to the programme. Now to some pretty serious news. In the last few days, we've had our Indiegogo campaign and PayPal account hacked. This is verifiable. Passwords have been changed and our Indiegogo campaign page was defaced earlier today. Suffice to say, we have this under control now. Whoever is behind it, it won't stop us from what we are doing. However, what may prevent us from continuing is the fact that we are just days away from going off air if we don't get some serious funding. David Icke spoke to us earlier on about the current financial situation with the People's Voice. Here he is.
Hello, I'm talking to you today, clearly not from the People's Voice studio, but from home on the Isle of Wight. Then, if you've got any wisdom at all, you listen to what your body's telling you and you go and get it sorted out, which is what I'm in the process of doing. And the diagnosis is that I am suffering from severe exhaustion, not a surprise to me, and a completely shot adrenal system due to overwork over a long period of time. I've been working intensely now without a break for 2.5 years or more. So that's why I'm here, putting together a television station from scratch in a few months. As other People's Voice will tell you, takes it out of you, shall we say. And while I've been here in the last few days, the people that look after the figures at TPV have told me that we are imminently going to go off air, because we have, as the appeal video explains, we have a gap to fill, and so that's where we are, and we need to be honest about that. We are going off air pretty imminently, I'm told, through lack of funding. Now, people look at £300,000, the original figure that we raised, we've had, and they think, oh, all those people supported it, but actually that's not the case. Millions come for free and have done for decades to davidicke.com in the knowledge, otherwise they wouldn't come, that we have a major, major problem with human freedom on so many levels and that runs so deep. Hundreds of thousands and growing all the time have watched the output of the People's Voice, the fantastic information we put to air across this great range of subjects. So you have millions going to davidicke.com for free. That website was created in the late 1990s. It's now 2014. And I tell you now, I've not taken a single cent of income from that website. Not a penny.
Yeah, boy.
It's all for free. Fantastic information every day. And hundreds of thousands have watched the People's Voice and benefited from its output and the efforts of people. Most of them volunteers.
Right, so I have to call him out specifically on this little point here because there was a point in time, 10 years or so ago, but he was charging people or trying to charge people for his online newsletter to be on his mailing list. When I'm talking about the same business tactics as Brian Rose and him laying out a blueprint of this whole spam bombardment of emails for these courses and shit, he's the original Don. He was trying to actually charge people real life money for a fucking online newsletter back in them days, and he says he's never made a penny off it.
And others on a wage that's nothing like they could get in the mainstream. And the number that have actually donated towards the People's Voice is less than 10,000 overall. Now, to them, I say, fantastic, thank you. To them, I say, you are awake enough to see the nature of the world that we live in, and thus the urgency to alert people to what's coming at them so fast and unfolding by the minute now, never mind the day. Thank you. But thank you, yes, but also people are not doing it for me. They're doing it for themselves and their children and their grandchildren and all the other people around the world who suffer mercilessly every day from the suppressions and the tortures and the oppressions of this network of grotesque families that are leading the world into a nightmare future, unless enough people wake up and take the action necessary to stop it. But I say thank you to all those people that have supported us with donations. And what I'm going to say from now on, clearly, does not apply to them. To the rest who can support us financially, even in small amounts, who haven't, but are aware that the world is in the state it is and where it's heading, at least to a point, and who have enjoyed the output of the People's Voice up to this point. I say this: what are you doing? What goes on in your head? This conspiracy that you are to an extent interested in, it's not a game, you know. It's not something that is like train spotting, a little add-on to life. This is about your future in what still marginally passes for human freedom. It's about the nightmare future that your children and grandchildren are going to have to live in, a nightmare you will not even yet comprehend the magnitude of. I've got this book, The Perception Deception. It's 1,000 pages, look at it. This is not conspiracy theory. This is documented fact, never documented in this detail and documented state before, and it shows very clearly that it's not a game, and we are hurtling towards a society in which you will not even have the freedom of thought, never mind the freedom of action. This is not a game. This is not making comments behind anonymous logins on blogs and forums. This is not a game. Wake up. And you know it goes further. For me, when you are in some way aware of what is unfolding and what is coming to an extent, but not the full magnitude of it, and you will not contribute to help people, mostly volunteers, who are giving their time and their lives, some cases their health, to alert people to this so it can be stopped. That, for me, just my opinion, is a state of insanity.
Oh, it's quite intense, isn't it? But yeah, like I say, when I speak of these characters and we delve into these investigations, we uncover some quite telling anomalies, but we can judge these characters and analyze the doctrines that they preach and the methodology that they use in promoting one's material. And yeah, the same predicted outcomes seem to keep cropping up. So once again, thank you to everyone that's been rocking with the channel for a good minute. I appreciate every single one of you. To anyone new around here, I implore you to go back and look at the previous investigations into Icke and Rose. There is quite a few of them, so please go and see the ones that are still up here that haven't been taken down by Mr. Rose's beady eyes. And bust me a like, comment on the video, share it with your friends or whatever, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and until next time, I hope each and every one of you is keeping well, keeping strong in the physical and the mental. And until next time, it's justice. Take care, everyone. Peace and love. Not the inverted love that Mr. Icke speaks of, though. Peace.
Is the people's voices, the public money, what has been done with it? That's what we want.
There's no rules. Rules. Who needs rules?